The Premier League is back following the international break, and we are 10 weeks away from the Premier League being over. And to be honest with you, I'm absolutely delighted. These prediction videos have to end. I keep embarrassing myself week in, week out. Before the World Cup break, I was getting 3-4 games right every single week. We were on a good bit of form, and then ever since then, since football returned after the World Cup, I've completely fallen off. Hopefully after this international break, we can get back on form, and some Premier League clubs will also be hoping the same. So let's get right into my Game Week 29 predictions. But before that, really quick, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you are new to the channel, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe. Manchester City versus Liverpool, and in seasons gone by, this usually would be the time of season where this fixture could decide the Premier League title. Now Liverpool are 6th, and Brighton have a game in hand on them to make Liverpool 7th. Liverpool will be hoping the next 10 games go well. They can catch up with Newcastle and Spurs, get top 4, and then just forget about this season. A player that's not having a season to forget though is Erling Haaland. Haaland is 4 goals off Mohamed Salah's record of most goals in a Premier League season, and to be honest, Haaland could probably break the record in this game. It's Manchester City at the Etihad. They're battling for a Premier League title, but Liverpool have showed up in these big games this season. They've beaten 2 of the best sides in Europe in Manchester City and Napoli. And you know what? I fancy them to fluke themselves a win and win this game 2-1 thanks to goals from Mo Salah and Darwin Núñez to just about keep their top 4 hopes alive. Bournemouth versus Fulham. We've already gone through the big game of the weekend. Everyone's gone home now. No one's watching anymore. Shout out to you if you are currently watching, and shout out to Fulham, who have been brilliant this season. All the plaudits goes to Roberto De Zerbi and Brighton and the job he has done there. But look at Fulham under Marco Silva. They're only 3 points behind Brighton, and they don't seem to be getting as much attention. Bournemouth are currently 19th in the Premier League, but I think that is a false story, as the Premier League relegation battle is so close that they could finish this game week with the right set of results in 12th. Now they would have to be very specific results, as Crystal Palace, Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Leicester and West Ham would all not have to win, and Bournemouth would have to win by 14 goals to catch up on goal difference. I think it's fair to say Bournemouth won't be finishing this game week in 12th. I think Fulham will win this game 2-1 thanks to goals from Salomon and Andres Pereira. Nottingham Forest versus Wolves, the Morgan Gibbs White Derby. That is a very boring title. Both sides met in the Carabao Cup quarter-finals, and it was a very intense game which went to penalties, and Nottingham Forest came out on top. The players definitely will have a disliking towards one another because, well, that was a very heated game. There will be a little bit of bitterness from the Wolves players, and I think there will be a red card. I'm going to say for Yates for Nottingham Forest, but I could see a player from either team getting sent off in this game. The game will end level, however, in this relegation battle. It'll be a 1-1 draw. Goals will come from Morgan Gibbs White and a late equaliser from Mateus Cunha. Crystal Palace versus Leicester. Crystal Palace sacked Patrick Vieira on St. Patrick's Day, which was somehow 2 weeks ago. It does not feel like it was that long ago. I think people are definitely overreacting on how quote-unquote unfair of a sacking it was. Crystal Palace haven't won a Premier League game this year. They've struggled to score goals all season, and they well and truly are in the relegation battle. I'm aware they're 12th, but like I said earlier on in the video, there is a small possibility Bournemouth finish this game week in 12th. One thing I will give Crystal Palace though is they're good defensively and they're brilliant at home, so I do think they're going to nab a 1-0 win to get their first win of 2023 with the new manager bounce. Arsenal versus Leeds, and Arsenal, surely now it is their title. I've seen certain Arsenal fans describe it as 10 finals, and that is definitely the best way of looking at it. If they can win their next 10 games, they win the Premier League. And fair enough if they drop points to Manchester City at the Etihad or Liverpool at Anfield, but you cannot be losing to Leeds at home. Arsenal do have to treat this game like it is a final, and that they are battling Leeds for the Premier League, and they have to go out and win this game, and I do think they're going to do that, and they're going to do it in a comfortable fashion thanks to a brace from Bukayo Saka and one from Gabriel Jesus. Brighton versus Brentford, and somehow this is now a European battle. Both teams battling for European places, 8th versus 7th, and if both teams were to draw and Liverpool were to lose to Manchester City, both teams would go up to 6th and 7th respectively. This is a huge game in both teams' seasons as they're battling against a direct rival for European football. It's a massive game, and a win could see both teams get a massive boost in their hope for European football, but I'm going to take the boring way out and going to say it's a 1-1 draw. Chelsea versus Aston Villa, and it looks like Graham Potter has steadied the ship at Chelsea, and it looks like they're finally getting some positive results, getting consistent quality performances. Well, that is until they play Real Madrid in the Champions League and get absolutely battered. That's no disrespect to Chelsea, it's just kind of what Real Madrid do. Both teams are level on points, so the winner of this game would go above the other. It's a big game for both clubs, but Chelsea are at home at Stamford Bridge. They've steadied the ship, like I've said. They're getting consistent performances, and I do fancy them to go out and win this game 2-0. Goals will come from Kai Havertz and Joao Felix. I finally said his name right several videos later. West Ham versus Southampton, 20th versus 18th, a huge game in the relegation battle, and I'll be completely honest with you, I'd rather Southampton win this game. I prefer the club, I prefer the fans, I prefer the players, but I also want West Ham to get relegated so that they can win the Conference League, so next season they'll be playing in the Europa League and the Championship. I not only think that would just be the greatest thing to ever happen in football, that would be the greatest thing to happen in human history. As Ronaldo once said, I would love it, and I think I deserve it. I think Southampton are going to win this game 2-1 thanks to a brace from Che Adams. Newcastle versus Man United. Scott McTominay is in the form of his life. He scored 4 goals during the international break for Scotland and is now level on goals with Cristiano Ronaldo in the Euros qualifiers. McTominay was a striker in Man United's academy who decided to play him in midfield because clearly that's not working. I beg Eric Ten Hag starts him up front versus Newcastle. Can Newcastle get revenge for the Carabao Cup final at home? It's surely the game you'd think they would be able to get their revenge, but they're not going to do it. Man United are going to win this game 2-0 thanks to a goal from Scott McTominay and Wout Weghorst. Everton versus Tottenham. Antonio Conte is no longer the manager of Spurs. He's won everywhere he's went, so is Jose Mourinho. Neither could win a trophy with Spurs. It's getting to the point where you think it's just the club and it's not the manager, it's just the mentality of the club. Even with the likes of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, all these brilliant players, Spurs are still going to find a way to lose to relegation battling Everton, and I think that is going to happen. It's going to be a 1-0 win for Everton thanks to a goal from James Tarkowski. So those are my predictions for this game week's Premier League games. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and as always, leave me your predictions in the comments. There are some midweek Premier League games, so I might make a separate video for that. I probably won't. But thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like on the video. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.